Hey everyone, and welcome back to Half Magic Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is Who is Your Next Lover? So we'll find out details about what they're like. There are 4 piles to choose from here, and I suggest selecting your pile based on the pile marker that sparks a memory in you. So for example, I would choose pile 3, Fool, because the mask on this card and kind of the sad court jester thing reminds me when I used to visit my grandparents as a kid, and they had a stairway that led up to their attic, and they had a ton of masks and like sad clown paintings lining the hallway, which is an interesting interior decorating choice. But that's why I would choose my pile. So feel free to pause the video now to select yours. I will put the timestamps in the description down below, and let's get started. If you selected pile 1, Gossip, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out who your next lover is. So immediately what I'm getting is for astrological possibilities here, your next lover could be a Pisces, an Aquarius, to a lesser extent a Cancer, or have a prominent Pisces, Aquarius, or Cancer placement in their natal chart. So that would be their sun sign, their moon sign, their Venus sign, or just generally they are embodying the nature of those signs, and I'll get into more details about that. So we're starting off your spread here with this High Priestess card, and this tells me immediately that your next lover is someone who's very mature, emotionally wise, someone who's very self-contained, reflective. This is probably someone who does enjoy spending a lot of their time alone, but I think they're just very well balanced emotionally. Like, they really don't get taken over by anger or sadness, and it feels like they have been through maybe a lot of like negative experiences in their life, but that has given them this sense of like resilience and the ability to bounce back and not get like too in the weeds or get too caught up in like drama when something bad or negative does happen to them. And I think because they do have this very like calm nature, people feel very comfortable around them. So even though this person like in their heart is very much a loner or an introvert and likes to spend time alone, people are very drawn to them. I just heard like particularly animals and children can be drawn to them, but I think their peers want to come to them, and people feel very comfortable opening up to your next partner. So this is someone who people come to for advice, people come to vent, people come to mediate, because this person is very good at problem solving, because they're very good at looking at kind of like emotionally charged situations objectively, because they do have this experience of moving through their own traumas or their own negative experiences and coming out on the other side. And they know, suffering's temporary, and you get to decide like how you move through your day. You can look at it through the lens of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, who's very pessimistic. And if you decide that everything's gonna suck, then yeah, probably you're just looking for things that confirm that. But if you decide, yeah, that sucked, but there's still goodness or beauty in the world, there's still connection, then you're more likely to focus on those things. And that seems really to be the attitude of this person. So they could be spiritual in some regard. So they could be religious, or they could be spiritual in the sense of like, woo-woo, like this kind of stuff, reading tarot. Maybe they just have a spiritual practice. They could be very connected to the moon, or they like to look at the moon or do like full moon or new moon rituals, things like that. And initials in their name that could be significant are B or J, which you can see on the columns in this card. So that is the message I'm getting from that. The next card we have here is this 5 of Swords in reverse. So 5 of Swords upright is a card about battles, but in reverse, it's about forgiveness. It's about reconciliation, being able to move on. And so this tells me that your person doesn't really hold grudges. It feels to me that they have been betrayed in the past, whether that has been through their family, friends, past romantic partners, but they're not going to let a negative experience that they had before prevent them from continuing to move through the world with an open heart and like faith in the goodness of others. And I think that's something that you really appreciate about this person is how much beauty they see in other people. Like they really kind of look through the world in an optimistic way. They have faith in humanity despite the horrors, so and also again, people probably do come to this person as a mediator because they're very good at seeing both sides of a situation. And so if you're having issues with a friend or a coworker, this person will give you very good advice about how to navigate that. And you leave conversations with them feeling more confident about like where you stand in situations, or you feel more confident about what your next move should be. So this person has some kind of like teacher energy also, so they could literally be a teacher, and particularly a teacher of like a creative situation. So they could be an art teacher, a music teacher. That will resonate just for some of you though, so that's very specific. And in the middle of your spread here, we have this 5 of Wands. So even though this person is very calm and they do tend to keep to themselves, they can be competitive. And I'm getting specifically, they could be like athletic, or it could be like a mental competitiveness. So what I mean by that is they could be on a sports team, or they could be like in a chess club or something like that. So there's something here where they do strive to be the best at like a hobby that they do. They like competing. They like practicing. They like the art of practicing. They like having a hobby. If you're older and maybe you're like out of school, so there's not as much access to like a sports team, maybe this person is in a run club, or maybe this person has like a game night with their friends and they get really into it, or they like to go to a trivia night at a bar. And that could be like a clue as to how you meet this person also. But they like a fun competitiveness. So this is not the kind of person who's going to flip the game board over if they lose, but they do like having something to strive for, and they do like, kind of testing themselves or trying to improve themselves. So that is one facet of their personality. The next card we have here is this 3 of Pentacles. So if you're not meeting them at the trivia night or at a run club or something where they are kind of competing or trying to improve themselves, you could meet this person through work. So this could be a new coworker. This could be someone that works in the same building as you. This could be a client, or you could be a client of theirs. Whatever the situation, because the 3 of Pentacles has a lot to do with the workplace usually, but also this is someone who's very hardworking and who's very well respected and well loved within their workplace or whatever work they do. So if they're just a student, like they really stand out to teachers, professors as being kind of top of the class or very creative minded. And they're also really good at showing their appreciation for other people. So if someone does something really well, they're not afraid to compliment them, because even though they're competitive, it's not like, there's some people that are competitive where they just want to be told they're the best, period. And it doesn't really matter to them, like, if you're, let's say, if you put Serena Williams in a tennis class with a bunch of like 6-year-olds who are just learning tennis, of course she's going to win, because she's going to be the best there. I mean, she's the best among adults usually, but her that victory, being the best out of a bunch of 6-year-olds who are just learning to play tennis, that feels like hollow, because you're like, well, it's not like it's a stiff competition, and I think a lot of people who are competitive in an aggressive way, they wouldn't care. They'd just be like, yeah, I won. I'm the best. But this person, your next lover, is, they want everyone to glow. They want everyone to shine. So they really see, the potential in people at the level they're at, and they're not dismissive of other people because they're not, on the same level as them yet. So again, this person is really good at appreciating or complimenting other people, and that could be something that you also really like in your relationship with this person, is how often they compliment you, because sometimes I see this card as being put on a pedestal. So I think this person receives a lot of compliments because people do feel so comfortable around them, but I also think they really like returning the favor and admiring your beauty, your personality, the things about you that they want you to know they find really cool and awesome. So you can expect a lot of words of affirmation from this person. At the very end of your spread here, we have the Star, and this is that Aquarius energy that I was talking about. This card traditionally represents Aquarius. So again, your person could be an Aquarius or have a prominent Aquarius placement in their natal chart, their sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, Venus sign. But the Aquarians are the air sign water bearers. So this is someone who is probably very intelligent, very well spoken, good at communication, because again, they're very good at, words of affirmation, reciprocating, supporting other people. So very good at communicating. And specifically, they're very good at communicating their emotions. So you don't really enter this relationship wondering where you stand with this person. They make it very clear. Like I said, they're not afraid to tell you what they appreciate about you, what they like about you. And also, this person could be into social causes, maybe they are pretty political, maybe they participate in some form of activism, maybe they volunteer at a food shelter, but social causes are important to this person because they have a very strong moral constitution, which I think is nice. I don't like it when people, that's my turn off on Hinge when someone says not political, because to me that just means you don't care. I don't think not caring is cute. So this person cares, which is nice. And another thing that I really like about this Star card is, if you know anything about tarot, the Star comes immediately after the Tower, which is probably the scariest card for someone to get, because the Tower is kind of about these big, shocking, destabilizing changes. But the Star right after it is very intentional, because the Star is this card about healing and overcoming. So again, I do feel like your next lover has been through a lot in their life. They've been through betrayals, but they've really worked on themselves, and they're very good at not overreacting. They're very good at looking at situations objectively, and they're a big believer in if it's already happened, I can't change it. All I can do now is move forward and find the best way to deal with the situation, or continue my life in a way that is most beneficial to me and the people that I care about and love. So again, this person has a very healing presence and energy. So if you are someone that has been wounded in romantic relationships, I think this relationship will be so healing for you. This will really revive your faith in romance and love. And this person could also have literal healing powers or energy that they're translating into their work. So this person could be a counselor, a therapist. Like I said before, they could be a teacher, but they could even be a school counselor, a child who's crying in the classroom comes to speak to them, or they could work in healthcare of some variety, or they could do kind of homeopathic or more naturalistic metaphysical kind of health. So they could do Reiki, or maybe they're a yoga instructor, but that's the kind of thing. They have this really nice balance between in their head, because they are very introverted and self-reflective, and living in the physical world. So I think they're very aware that like you can't be too in your head, but you also can't be too like hedonistic. You have to find this really nice balance to enjoy like the pleasures of the earthly world and also to continue to grow spiritually. So I think this person sounds awesome, honestly. I think you're really going to grow a lot from your relationship with them, and you're going to feel very like seen and understood by them, which is nice. So for your archetype card, we got gossip. This says awakens consideration for the feelings of others, honoring trust. So again, I do feel like people really kind of innately trust this person. They want to come up to them and share their secrets and ask for advice. And so your next lover is probably someone who is very well regarded, very popular, despite being someone who really does like to spend a lot of time by themselves. For your romance angels card, we got healing family issues, and this says your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. So again, your person has extremely strong healing energy, and I got the sense that they have been through their own traumas, their own issues, and so maybe that's it. Maybe they had a really dysfunctional family dynamic growing up, and so they put in a lot of work to become the kind of person who is not perpetuating those cycles, who is not overreacting, who is not allowing other people to, emotionally manipulate them or spike their cortisol levels to stress them out, basically. So, and I think that rubs off on you. So again, this is a very healing connection and one that I think you will really appreciate, which is so cute. So congratulations to you, my pile ones. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll talk to you again soon, and take care. If you selected pile 2, Hermit, let's figure out what your next lover is like. So we're starting off your spread here with the Strength card. And what I'm getting from this is that, especially with the Hermit being the pile marker that you selected here, your next lover is someone who is very much an introvert, really enjoys their alone time, and is very self-reflective. But I think the reason why they are so self-reflective is because they have had to rely on themselves a lot in their life. So perhaps they had a kind of unfair childhood. Maybe they went through a lot as a child, and because of that, they've kind of had to be parents to themselves, or they've had to take care of themselves, or they've had to kind of pull themselves out of lots of dark places, lots of holes. And so even though this person has experienced a lot of adversity, one gift that has been given to them because of that is their perseverance. And I think that's what's coming through in this card here, is that this is someone who perseveres. They know that that the things that happen to them, negative, positive, whatever, are temporary, and all you can do is move forward and continue to try to like live the best life to you. And I think this is a lesson that did take them a long time to learn, especially if you look at the 4th card in your spread here. We have the 6 of Cups reversed, and the 6 of Cups upright can really be a card about nostalgia. And so in reverse, it's almost like refusing to let go of the past. But with that King of Cups next to it at the end of the spread, I do think this person has gained the emotional maturity to move past that. But maybe it's one of those things like, healing isn't linear. So 90% of the time they're really in this perseverant, the only way out is through kind of attitude. But then sometimes they do get a little maybe depressive or hung up on all of the things that have happened to them in the past, which I get. Sometimes you just you feel the weight of everything at once, and it's easy to feel like it's the pattern of your life or like the defining feature of your life, instead of, a series of unfortunate events that you have managed to grow from and learn from and move away from, which is the true defining pattern of their life. Does that make sense? So, I think your next lover is someone who is very self-reliant, has a very good perspective about how to get through things. And I think because of that, they really don't let small things like burden them or weigh them down. They have a lot of self-control. This is a very disciplined person, so they could be someone that really likes routine or really has like different aspects of their life together. So if you're used to dating people that are kind of like hot messes, this is someone who's in contrast to that. This person probably has a bedtime and they got a full-time job and a 401k, and they eat broccoli. So they've got it together for the most part. And with the Empress here next in your spread, I think you'll be happy to know that this person is also extremely physically attractive. The Empress is a card that can be all about beauty. So this person is probably like very classically attractive, especially to you. Regardless of whether or not they are a man or a woman, they could have some kind of like feminine features. So an example of that would be like if they're a man, maybe they have really long eyelashes like Zayn Malik or something, which is kind of feminine, but it's obviously very attractive on them. So another thing that I'm getting, again, regardless of gender of your future partner, this person has a very like motherly, caring, nurturing energy. I think because they are kind of introverted and kind of quiet, people see them sometimes as like a sponge. Like they can really tell this person anything. It's almost like a priest, right? Like if you go and confess something to a priest, you're not really supposed to talk while you're doing it. So you're kind of confessing to this open book who's supposed to sit there and listen to you and kind of support you, regardless of what their maybe personal opinion is on it or what they would do. And so your person has a very non-judgmental vibe. And I think because of that, people really feel safe coming to them. This is like, if you were a kid and you had like very strict parents, but you had a friend whose parents were really cool, and if you were in trouble, like you could come to them and tell them, and they wouldn't, they would still be like, don't do that again, but they would help you, and you wouldn't be afraid to tell them like maybe you would to their parents. That's the kind of vibe that this person has. This person could also literally already have kids, so maybe they are a parent, but take that, with a grain of salt. That will just apply to a few of you. I'm also getting that this person could be pretty financially well off. So again, I do think this person has like a full-time job. They've got a career. They seem very stable in that regard. And so probably they are making like a good amount of money. And I think they also do like to indulge. I think especially because this person does tend to spend a lot of their time alone. They really like to pamper themselves. So this is the kind of person who would buy themselves a massage, or they have like silk sheets on their bed because they really believe in like making their life as comfortable or as luxurious as possible. With the Knight of Wands next in the spread here, this is another promise that this person is attractive, because I also see the Knight of Wands as one of the, like, this is a hot person card. And in particular, this person could have like a very athletic build. So maybe they like to go to the gym, or they like to work out in some capacity. For some of you, they're like runners or joggers. Maybe they're in a run club. Maybe that's how you meet this person. But they could just be generally athletic. And I think they also really enjoy traveling. So that could be another thing that this person treats themselves to because they have the financial means to do so. Maybe they take themselves on trip, and that's something that you do when you start seeing this person or dating them, is that you go on little trips together, which is really fun and exciting. So then we come to that Six of Cups in reverse. So as I said, even though this person has been very resilient and is really good at persevering through, the pits of life, this person does sometimes fall into kind of like a melancholic state. And when that happens, it's usually because they are kind of hung up on, feeling like all of these bad things have happened to me. It feels like a pattern in my life. Maybe it's me, something like that. So I do think that's something that you maybe will have to comfort them through occasionally. But like I said, I do think for the most part they are over this. It seems like they've really put in a lot of work to not get into this mindset where they feel like they're fated to live like a life that is difficult. I think this person instead is like, well, all I can do is try to like improve my life. So this person for the most part has a really good attitude, and I think that's also coming through in the last card here, this King of Cups. So this person could be a Scorpio or have a prominent Scorpio placement in their natal chart. That's their sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, or Venus sign. Or generally they are embodying this King of Cups energy, which is someone who is very emotionally mature, someone who is wise, someone who is really kind and approachable, someone that people feel like they can come to for advice. And this is also someone that tends to be pretty private. So again, especially with that Hermit as a pile marker, this person likes to spend a lot of time alone. So if you're also introverted, it seems like a good pair, because maybe you can kind of do your side-by-side activities silently when your socialization battery is done. So really sweet. And then, like I said, for your pile marker, we got Hermit. This says, seek solitude to focus intently on inner life. Serves personal creativity. So, again, this person really enjoys spending their time alone, but they spend all that time alone, not just, lazing around. They really spend a lot of time working on themselves, on self-reflection, on discovering themselves, on fostering their own creativity. And because of that, they're really well-rounded. And I think people really admire the wisdom that they have and want to come to them for advice. Now, the shadow attributes that are listed on this card says, withdraws from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. And to me, when I think of, because there is a Hermit card in tarot, when I think of the shadow attributes of the Hermit, it can be someone who is so overly self-critical that they withdraw so they can avoid the perception of others, the criticism of others, feeling unloved, feeling incapable. And so I think that goes with that Six of Cups. Like I said, for the most part, your person is really good at pulling themselves out of a funk or out of a bad situation. But sometimes they do get a little bit where, they're like, oh, maybe I'm better off alone. I shouldn't talk to anyone. I should just keep to myself. Or they when they're upset, their first inclination is to kind of go and hide. And so that might be something that you need to look out for. Now, with your Romance Angels Oracle card, we got very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. So this is a confirmation that this person is coming into your life soon. But also, I see this sentence here, clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now, as a reflection of your person. So this person knows what they want because they've spent so much time by themselves, reflecting on themselves, working on themselves. They have a really strong sense of self. They have a really strong moral constitution. They know exactly who they are, what their likes and dislikes are, and so they're really good at communicating what it is that they want. This is not someone who changes their mind every 3 seconds or who is easily manipulated by other people, because they do really know themselves, which is nice. So I think you find this person pretty inspiring, just the way that they are able to navigate life's difficult situations and how they continue to show up for themselves, continue to parent themselves, even if it's difficult. And also, they're hot. So congratulations to you, my pile twos. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Take care. If you selected pile 3, full welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what your next lover is like. So we're starting off your spread here with the 7 of Wands. And what I'm getting is that this person is very protective of the things that they care about, which will be you if you're their next lover. So this person could be, if you were to get into a fight with a friend, they would be like, I can't believe they disrespected you like that. And they would kind of hold a grudge against that friend forever. So maybe you don't want to tell them about the petty stuff. But Like if someone were to make a negative comment about you, like one of their friends, they would cut off their friend immediately. If they had a family member that didn't like you, they would really like defend you. And another thing that I'm getting from this is that this person has really strong boundaries, and they're really not afraid to go against the grain and be different from everyone else, even if it means that they are subjected to like disagreements or people being rude to them. So an example of this would be, let's say that they live in an area where basically all of their neighbors, all of their friends are one particular religion. Okay, so an example that I'm thinking about is like in a small town in America, in the South, usually everyone's like Christian or whatever. And maybe this person isn't a Christian. Again, this is just an illustrative example. This doesn't have to be what it is, but this person is not going to lie or pretend to be something they're not to make other people comfortable. They're not, antagonizing everyone else for having different beliefs, but maybe they are antagonized, and even though it would be easier for them to just pretend, they kind of believe, well, I'm not going to lie about who I am. It's like, I just heard John Proctor from The Crucible, where he, gets accused of witchcraft, and they say, well, we won't kill you, basically, if you sign this piece of paper attesting that you were doing witchcraft. And he says, I'm not signing my name because that's my name. I'm not going to confess to something that I didn't do, even if it would mean that I would be saved. So this person really has that kind of really strong, like, moral constitution and sense of self and sense of justice that prevents them from easily folding or being swayed when they feel like something is right or true to them. And again, like I said, I think this person has very strong boundaries, so they're not afraid to say no. And that can be as simple as, maybe someone asks them to go out to get a drink on the weekend and they are just exhausted from working all week, and they say, no, I can't tonight, because I really need to just like stay inside and rest. So that's a personality trait of theirs that you may notice and that may rub off on you, is the ability to kind of stand up for yourself more or draw more clear boundaries. And with the 8 of Cups next in the spread here, this person is really not afraid to walk away from things, even if they are things that they love, even if they're things that this person is emotionally attached to, if it means that they are opening themselves up to the possibility of something better. So especially paired with like this 7 of Wands card about them having boundaries, I think maybe like a good example of this is, let's say that this person really wants a kid. Okay, they've decided it's one of my life goals to have a child, and they start dating someone and they really like this person. They can really see a future with this person. They get along on everything except that person does not want a child. This person would leave the relationship, even if everything else is perfect, because they know themselves, they know what they want, they know what their, boundaries are, and even though they really like this person and wish them the best, they feel like they can find someone who really aligns with everything that they need. This person does not have like a scarcity mindset. This person really believes that the things that are meant for them are out there waiting for them, and they just have to get there. So again, that's just one example. It doesn't have to be exactly the case, but it can apply to any situation in their life. Like maybe they have a job at a specific place and they really wanted a raise, and so they asked their boss for a $10,000 raise, and they did get a raise, but it was only $5,000. Even though they'd be really grateful for that, even if they completely love the workplace, they're still going to look at other jobs that would give them that full $10,000 salary increase, because this person believes, if I'm not getting it from here, there is somewhere that will give it to me. And so, this person kind of has that adventurous spirit, and this person really prioritizes their own needs, which is not to say that they're selfish. This is not someone who's giving me like, only cares about them. This is just someone who is invested in their own well-being, which I think we all should be. Now with the Moon card here, this person can be kind of mysterious. Like maybe that's the word that people use to describe them, because they can be kind of hard to read, or maybe like different people kind of have different perceptions of this person. So I think a good example of this is like the actor Timothy Chalamet. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But I think a lot of people, because of maybe his film roles being like in period pieces, a lot of people see him as this very like artistic old soul. And maybe he is on some level, but then also he is like, a lot of other people perceive him as being someone that's like very goofy. Like if you see these videos of him from high school or college when he's like performing, like he's very silly, like very much class clown. Or it reminds me of a lot of people being kind of surprised that he's dating Kylie Jenner, because I think they perceive him as being kind of this like Jane Austen like love protagonist, instead of like a guy who went to high school in New York City and probably just likes pretty girls. So there's maybe conflicting perceptions of what this person is like, but I don't think just because they're conflicting that either of them are wrong. Just like I think all of those things can probably apply to Timothy Chalamet, who clearly has a love for acting, who has an artistic side, who has a sensitive side, and is also a goofball who likes baddies. So that's the deal with this person. I'm also getting that this could be someone who is kind of a night owl. So this person really enjoys staying up late at night, and probably you get some of your deepest conversations with this person at nighttime. Like they're a lot more revealing, because again, especially with the Fool card as the pile marker here, this person does seem to mostly be kind of like a jokester or like a class clown. And so I think when it's just like you and this person kind of alone, that's when the conversation starts getting deep. And I think that's when you really fall for this person, is when you get to see the depths of their personality, or that they are more than just, funny. So another thing I'm getting, this person could be a Pisces or have a prominent Pisces placement in their natal chart. That would be their sun sign, their moon sign, their rising sign, or their Venus sign. And with the Page of Cups next in your spread, this is one of my favorite cards in all of tarot, because the Page of Cups just represents like everything good. It's love, it's crushes, it's creativity, it's art, it's beauty, it's flowers, it's magic, it's everything. And so I do think that this is a very creative person. Probably they, one of their hobbies, or maybe even part of the job, is the creation of something. So for example, they could be an artist, like maybe they paint, they could make music, they could be a writer, but they don't have to monetize it. It could just be something they do for fun. Maybe they really enjoy reading. They probably feel very connected to like nature and animals. And this person does have quite a romantic streak. So this is probably the person who would not mind watching like a chick flick with you, or would earmark a love poem, or they would write you a really sweet like card on your birthday. So this person does have that romantic streak. Finally, with the Wheel of Fortune at the end of the spread here, this person is someone that is considered very lucky. Their life circumstances, I feel like when you talk to them, you're like, I can't believe you had this and this and this happen to you. Like, this is like the person that won the Danimals yogurt contest. It's like just random, like little spurts of luck, or they won the lottery, or they were the state champion of tennis in high school or something, just like really random little facts about this person where they really achieved a lot of success, even if it's on a smaller scale. But they tend to kind of fall into situations that really work out well for them. And even when things don't work out, it tends to like propel them into something better. Like one door closes, another door opens, which is probably why, again, they don't have that scarcity mindset. They feel like, if I'm not getting here, I'm going to get somewhere else. That's like an example of this is maybe when they were applying to colleges, they had a dream school in mind, and the dream school rejected them, but they got accepted into this other school that is really highly regarded, and that school gave them a full ride scholarship. It's like that kind of thing. Like, even though they didn't get into their dream school, they got into this really like prestigious university that gave them way more benefits than what their dream school would have given them. So they really believe in like divine redirection. And I think this person's luck will rub off on you as you be with them. So with your pile marker, we have the Fool, which says, fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. So again, this person is really funny. And that's probably, why you really like this person. You're like, this person's so charming. They're so funny. They're so awesome. This person really makes you laugh, which is nice. And another message I'm getting from this is that this person could dress differently from everyone else. So, if you live in a place that really values conformity, this person's not afraid to stand out. Like, this person's wearing really cool like patterns of clothing or bright colors, or they have their hair dyed like a crazy color, or they wear a lot of accessories. Like, this person stands out in a crowd, and I think they like it that way. And that kind of ties into also that Seven of Wands energy I said, where this person's really not afraid to be different. And, they feel like even if someone tells them they're doing too much, they're like, well, this is me, take it or leave it. So with your Romance Angels card, we got Wedding, which says this situation involves marriage. So for a lot of you, your next lover is also the person that you could end up getting married to. And another message that I'm getting for some of you is that you could meet this person at a wedding or in a way that involves a wedding. So maybe, you are in the wedding party for one side of the wedding, and they are like a best man or groomsman or bridesmaid for the other side. And you meet that way. You could just be guest at the same wedding. You could be attending a wedding and they could be in the wedding band, like maybe they're the person performing there. They could own the catering business that caters the wedding. They could be doing, the tuxedo rentals or the dress alterations for something for the wedding, but that's just a message for some of you that is how you can meet that person. So if you have a wedding coming up, keep that in mind maybe. But overall, this is a very cute pile. Your person's very much a go-getter, which I like. So congratulations to you, my pile threes. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. If you selected pile 4, Trickster, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what your next lover is like. We're starting off your spread with the Queen of Wands. And so the person that we're talking about could be an Aries or have a prominent Aries placement in their natal chart. That would be their sun sign, their moon sign, their rising sign, their Venus sign. Another sign that I'm getting from this pile is Cancer, so that could also apply. But generally, this person is embodying this Queen of Wands energy. I always say the Queen of Wands, to me, is the hottest court card in all of the tarot. So probably your next lover, very physically attractive. And that's probably what draws you to this person. I think that this person also has a lot of charisma and they're really like action oriented. And so people tend to come to them when they need something done. So they're probably like very well regarded, especially at work or at school. Because people know that they can come to them to get a job done correctly. This person also has a lot of confidence and they're good storytellers. They're kind of life of the party. They can be very funny. And so people just want to hang out with them. But I also think that because they can be such a novelty, sometimes people almost treat them like party tricks. Like, oh, this is my friend who's basically here to entertain us because they're really funny or they're great storytellers or they're just so interesting or they're very attractive. Like, I think a lot of people really want a lot of things from this person, And because of that, they tend to have like very strong boundaries with new people that are entering their lives. So when you first meet this person, you might be immediately attracted to them, but they're a little standoffish or they're a little hard to read. And that's coming through in the next card here, this Four of Pentacles reversed, because the Four of Pentacles upright is a card that's kind of about like hoarding your resources. And the message that I'm getting is it's mostly because people want so much from this person. People crave this person's energy. They crave their attention. But in reverse, the Four of Pentacles is about kind of letting go of that need or that feeling that you have to keep everything to yourself. And so this person does open up to you, but it does take them a while generally to kind of warm up to people. That being said, when they do warm up to you, they really are extremely loyal, and I think they really orient their lives around friendship. And what I mean by that is like, obviously when you meet this person, they're not dating anyone, unless you're polyamorous or whatever, but you know, this person is available. This person is not in like a steady monogamous relationship. And so instead of being like someone who is kind of like desperate to get into a romantic relationship or desperate to hit like romantic milestones, like they're like, I need to get married in 2 years or have children in 3 years or move in with someone, blah, 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 which I'm not saying this person doesn't want those things. They are less concerned about that because they feel like they can have a fulfilling life regardless of whether or not they have a romantic partner, because they have really prioritized like the things that make them happy, the things that they have fun doing, their hobbies, their creativity, and especially their friends. So probably when you meet this person, it could be through mutual friends, or it could be in a location where they are having fun with their friends. So maybe you go to a party and they've been invited by friends. But this person really values friendship, and because of that, they're very loyal. So that is something that you will really appreciate about this person, is how loyal they are, not just to their friends, but also to you. And with the Three of Cups here, they also enjoy a little party. You know, they like to have fun. They like to go out and try new things. They like things that get their adrenaline pumping. Probably they really enjoy dancing. I could see you definitely meeting this person at like a party, and they really believe in like celebrating their accomplishments or celebrating their friends' accomplishments. So if you do something really awesome, if you win a contest, or you get a promotion, or you get accepted into a really prestigious program, this is the kind of person who would organize like a surprise party for you, because they don't see someone else achieving something as like it being taken away from them. And I think there's a lot of people that do have that attitude of like, let's say you're friends with someone at work and you both interview for the same job and you get it, but that person doesn't. There's a lot of people that would be mad and be like, well, why'd you get it and not me? You don't deserve it. But just because someone else got it doesn't mean that you cannot also get it at some point, or that you're unworthy. Like, it wouldn't be that exact position, obviously, but I think a good example of this was like a few weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago, I don't know, when Coachella was happening. Charlie XCX at an after party wore like a sash or something that said Myss should be a headliner, and people got very offended by that and were like, she's talking shit about Green Day because they were the headliner, and she's saying that she's better than Green Day, and she's saying that she doesn't like Green Day. And it's like, no, that's not what's being said. That's just extrapolating a lot. I think the people who read into that way, that says a lot about their attitude, because someone saying, I want something, or I deserve something, or I want success, does not mean that they think someone else should not have that success, or that they don't like the other person, or they think the other person doesn't deserve it. So that's just an example. What I'm getting at is that your person is very supportive because they're really confident in their own abilities. And they feel like, I'll get what I deserve, and everyone else can too. We can all glow together. And I think you'll really like that about this person. And then with the Chariot, this is almost a reiteration of that because the Chariot is a card about success and momentum and forward movement. So this person is really ambitious. They have goals for their life. If you ask them, where do you see yourself in 5 years? They probably have an answer immediately, and they're actively working towards it. They really believe in self-improvement and self-betterment, and I think that's one of the reasons, again, why people are really attracted to them, because they're not a loser. They're not stagnant, which is really awesome. And finally, at the end of your spread here, we have this Ace of Swords, which tells me that this person's very well-spoken. They're very good communicators, and they're very honest. You don't really have to worry about this person lying to you or, leading you on, because you feel like you know where you stand with this person. And with the pile marker that you selected being Trickster, that might sound like, those two are opposing, but I don't think so, because on this card, Trickster, it describes it as transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. So again, I think this person really stands out in a crowd. They could dress differently, maybe flamboyantly, and like I said, they tend to not orient their lives around cis, hetero, patriarchal, capitalist standards, meaning that they'd probably be okay if they were never married, which is not to say that they wouldn't want to marry you. I'm just saying that they don't feel like they need to hit milestones that everyone's been told they need to hit by movies or the government or their family in order to feel complete as a person, because this person has so many facets, so many hobbies, so many deep, meaningful relationships outside of a romantic relationship that they really feel like they have a lot to live for and look forward to outside of that. And again, this person is different. I think this person really challenges how other people see themselves, and they really do support people kind of branching out and trying new things, which I think is also why people want so much time and energy from them, because this person is a motivator. This person allows people to feel more comfortable being authentically themselves, and that's also why they have such a big friend group, I think. So for your Romance Angels Oracle card, we got Engagement, and this says your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So like I said, I think right now your next lover is someone who's very unattached, but obviously when you get together, you are kind of taking a step towards a more formal level of commitment, and I do see this person wanting to kind of settle down with you and incorporate you into their life. They want to make the space for you, which is really sweet. So overall, I think this is a very cute pile. Congratulations to you, my pile force. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.